All right, welcome back. Welcome back. It is close to a new trading week. I'm feeling much better. I've been recovering from the flu. Had some weird side effects after the flu. So I just haven't had the energy to do a lot of videos and posting. If you've been catching the trade plans that I posted on in Discord, then you've been keeping up with what I've been looking at and how I've been trading. I will continue to stick with my game plan, which is mostly following QQQ and Tesla. Right now, I think that Tesla is giving a lot of good trade opportunities up and down. So I think it's worth keeping on your watch list. I'll cover that chart. And then what we'll start off with is the QQQ chart, and what I saw on Friday that led to my day trade. This will be from the Whoop chart. So if you're interested in my setup and the indicators that I use, consider joining the Wolf Pack. You'll get a subscription that gives you access to the Wolf chart. You'll also get access to the Discord, real-time trade alerts, AI, Black Wolf that is trained completely to guide you through your trades, whether it's setting up a trade plan, whether it's going through a trade that you're already in. This tool is amazing. And the best part about it is just like in the Discord where everyone trades off the same system, it also is trained pro level to guide you through learning and trading the system. So when you join the Discord, you'll become certified by taking your certifications. You'll get access to trade alerts created by trade plans created by Sean the Wolf himself or other trade members, Wolf Pack members who are also actively using the system. And I will tell you, there are a lot of amazing people in the Discord. So again, if you are interested, link is in my bio. Again, you'll get all of this plus Black Wolf. I've already demoed Black Wolf a few times. And if you want me to do another more in-depth video of how I use Black Wolf in my trades, just let me know. So we had some conversations in Discord. We do have dedicated tabs, and one is the QQQ tab, which is where you will find me mostly. And in that tab, we were I shared out the trade plan for the day, and as you know, the bearish trade plan was the one that wins. So each day I do try to put out a bearish and bullish scenario, and then you get the real-time alerts that Sean has set up on QQQ that will give you additional confirmation based off the wolf chart that we're in a specific trend, either up or down. So, with that being said, we'll look at what was my entry. Why did I feel led to enter shorts? And so it's pretty simple. Honestly, this was a pretty easy opening trade. I do prep prior to the start of the market opening. And my goal is to be in and out. You know, if you're employed and you don't have a lot of time to make moves in the market, ideal goal if you're going to try at a day trade is to be in and out. Otherwise, swing trading fits best. So in this particular scenario, it's pretty easy. We had gapped up, but I had already did my complete top-down analysis. So I knew where we were gapping up. We were sitting in a bearish order block on the 4 hour. Also knew that we had already formed an arc. And so part of the system is when the wolf trend moving average forms this arc here and begins to signal a potential downtrend. So this is an example of an arc form, and here's your pullback. This is an example of an inverse arc, and then here's your climb to the top. So as you can see, arc system is truly one of my favorite confirmations. It gives you the early indication of a trend reversal. So once these candles, even on the 4 hour, if you look at it, we're not able to reclaim price above, form an arc, and we got this type of play on Friday. I'll cover why I decided to also swing a put through the weekend. All right, so we'll go back to the 5 minute chart. Again, very easy trade if you just looked at the trade plan for the day. And if you did not get trapped into a bull trap, because here's what we did. We did a very significant gap up. And even on this candle, we were up $3.81 at opening. Um, and so I think if you look at it from the 2 minute chart, which I like this chart too, even looking at it from the 2 minute chart, you can see that we were already starting to show weakness from opening at this high point. Now, something to take in mind is I already followed previous day high and low, as well as pre-market high and low. So with that automatically being on my chart and us not being able to maintain and hold the the previous day high, which was Thursday's high at 624.37, I already can see the play where we might get a potential pullback. And Black Wolf also confirmed it through a full top-down analysis for me, indicating that we would find support somewhere around 620 to 618. So we already had our bottom range and we knew where our take profit targets were for the way down and where we wanted to see the best rejection to enter puts. So full confirmation here played out. We even have the 12 EMA already trending on the 2 minute chart below the 200. So short time frame, that's a bearish setup. If you did your prep work ahead of the session on Friday, then one thing that I kept saying for a bit was that I'm really watching the narrow state play out between the 12 EMA and the 200 EMA on QQQ. So I'm going to hide my Pro, which takes away the clouds, and just show you what that looks like. And I'm also hide my WTMA cloud. All right, so here is the visual, right? These narrow states always print one way or another. That means it can pop this way or that way. But in this particular case, I noticed that we had tried to, and attempted to hold the 12 and the 200, but a retest would be needed. I felt pretty strongly that we should see a retest of these EMAs. So going into Friday, I at least wanted to see a retest and hold at around 622, 623. Would that fail, that just gave further confirmation. So one of my zones to watch was around 623, 622, and then so forth. Then of course you get that wick here. Now, sorry, this was Thursday's play. So actually Thursday was like a rinse and repeat, honestly. If you look at it, this was Thursday's play, which I did take puts as well on this day. This is the Friday candle. So let's zoom into that a little bit more. Well, on Friday's candle, again, we struggled here in this order block, and we also pulled back to the 12 EMA, pretty aggressive candle for just 1 hour of the trading session, and that was the start of the day. And then the rest of the day, honestly, was a chop in between 620 and somewhere around 620, and then somewhere around 622, 623, never breaking above that. So that gave a nice confirmation. Of what we were looking at as well. So there's a few ways you can look at that. And even on the 1 hour session, we formed an arc. On the 1 hour time frame, we formed the arc that gave a confirmation of a bearish trend. So once you get your candle under the 12, here's where we are chopping now, which is at the 200. So what do we want to see on Tuesday? Because today's a holiday. We want to see QQQ either reclaim the 12 on the 1 hour and hold support at the 200, or we want to start to see that breakdown under 620 holding solid. So looking for a 620 breakdown will lead us to where we can potentially challenge previous week low. Now, here's the thing on QQQ. We already have seen that NQ was down a bit. In the sessions earlier today. So we'll have to see how that plays out and what we are looking at before we open session. So I'll have my Discord post ready for pre-market to give everyone a chance to prep and kind of get their levels marked on their charts. So we're going to put back the Pro and we're going to put back the Wolf Trend Moving Average Cloud. And with that, you can see again that we're wedged in between, but something very careful to watch is a potential for a cross here, which gives us the bearish cross where your 12 EMA, it's even more of a confirmation when the clouds also do the same thing and cross each other. So the full crossover on the 1 hour. And I'll show you what that looks like from a bearish crossover. So here would be your bearish crossover here where you get the 12 crossing above the wolf trend moving average and the 200 cloud. Very beautiful play. And you can see the move as that played out. Um, and let's see if we can find a bearish example of that. Here's one where we see the 12 crossing under and we fall into an order block, and that's where we have support. So right now, support really on QQQ looks likely to be closer to 614 unless we start to see a stronger push down. So first thing we'll watch and see is if we hold under previous week low, previous day low, and then do we fall into this order block, potentially coming as low as about 607, 606. And if we continue to break down, I would look for the liquidity grab somewhere around 603 to 600. And that hopefully will be where we find support. Now, I can't be overly bearish, so we have to also look at the idea of what could happen next on the QQQ chart. And that is, again, that we break the 12 EMA and we begin to chop down away at this bearish order block here and push ourselves through, potentially finally getting that test around 630. I think we came pretty close here on the 13th at 629.47, but again, it has been a battlefield, so we're not sure, which way it'll go. But why did I hold a put over the weekend? Well, I did do a complete top-down analysis, and just looking at the charts, we have the arc that was formed on the 1 hour. We're in a tight squeeze. We've rejected in this order block multiple attempts. And so my thought is that it would make much more sense for a play where we come and grab liquidity before we make our next attempt back to clear up this zone here and break out. That is my play. However, I did not make that decision alone. I did include Black Wolf in my thought process of why I felt the need that to chart QQQ. We had an arc on the 4 hour. We were also in an order block on the 4 hour. And again, it just makes sense now that we've pushed through a few times in these zones to try and pull back, grab some liquidity down under. This will be our sell side liquidity attempt, and then make a potential move back up. Shout out to the Wolf Discord because we have been highly focused on the liquidity moves now, and so it's unsealed. It's like I can't not. I always see liquidity, and the cool thing about it is when you finally see it play out multiple times, it just makes the moves a little bit more predictable outside of news to just understand the technicals. A few of the things that gave me confidence is that we were still trending below the Wolf Trend Moving Average, which is this green here. We had the arc, of course, and we were losing the 12 EMA, starting to flip red. So again, I took a position, not too heavy, following confirmations. Now, my idea of play would be that we come to this 200 weighted moving average and then we see a bounce. So even if that's another wick like this, because I was able to get in somewhere around 624, I'm 623, I believe. I'm confident that I should be okay going into the move market opening of Tuesday. Again, the stop loss for me would be somewhere around 625. And yeah, I took the trade to Black Wolf. It gave me a full confirmation. It actually started to tell me, like, hey, almost like quick questioning me because I've already told you this is a very solid structural confirmation. And it even gave me the option selection that I chose. So I asked it to then help me decide on which option contracts would fit best for this move. And so it gave me my option contracts and my take profit targets. So these are a type of trade plans that you will get in the Wolf Discord. And not only that, if you're a beginner trader, just using the system, using the trade plans that others are producing for you, we work as a unit, as a family, as a pack, you will see how profitable this is. So hope to see you in the Discord. I will have a link in my bio, as well as in the description of this video, and I'll also pin it to the comment section. Now, here's what we're looking for QQQ on tomorrow. We're looking to see if I really have the right confirmation here. There could be some influence to my trade because of ADP employment data dropping on Tuesday. I did take that into consideration. And so to accommodate, the risk of a real quick loss here, what I did was I pushed my contracts out to 123 expiration. I worked that out with Black Wolf by telling it that we have data that I'm a bit worried about, and so making sure that I have time on my side with the 620 put should give me a better opportunity to see my trade through. Now, one other thing to take into consideration if you're looking at QQQ from the Wolf chart is that we did get the WTMA crossing forming an arc on the 1 day. And so we'll have to watch that, right? So it could do this and that forms the complete drop. Or, it could do something like this where it starts to form and then we pop. Either way it go, I'm cash ready for any direction. And so I just kept that position open and I'm going to follow it through to see how it plays out, trusting the stop loss that I set for myself. That is the story on QQQ. Very easy trade. My recommendation is always to make sure that you have a view of what's happening on the higher time frame. So by the time you're ready to day trade, you have the plan while taking into consideration where we are on the higher time frames. Trying to short something in these order blocks, it is important to be very strategic and take profits where you're supposed to. So in my case, selling around 620, 618 were important because I knew that we were sitting in a bullish order block and have been chopping into it quite a bit. I knew that it was important to just stick to my take profits. It's better to be able to do a rinse and repeat or leave a runner to see if we get more. And as you can see, more than anything, towards the end of the session, if you look at it from the 5 minute chart, after the gap down, we just chopped around here. Nothing significant, but we did remain under the 200 on the 5 minute. Now, with Tesla, I was able to achieve a 300% return on these because I took the trade pretty quickly, just like QQQ. I didn't really hesitate because both of these I had prepped. Both of these I had already taken to Black Wolf. And so when Tesla opened and did this big move here, that did not get me excited because I had already done my full analysis of the charts in the higher time frame. I know that one important price level that we have been needing to sustain has been between 644, I'm sorry, 444 and 445. You can see the chop here on Thursday, and you can see the rejection here, yet again trying to attempt to break out, but the complete fail. What's so beautiful about this is a few things if we look at it from the wolf chart. So we'll first just hide our clouds for a second, and I'll leave the pro up. What do we have here is one, we have the orange line, which is our VWAP, and then we have the red and blue, which is the 12 EMA. When we're above the 12 EMA and bullish, we're going to get blue. When the trend reverses and we're pulling back and losing the 12 EMA, we get red. Same thing for the 200 weighted moving average and the cloud. They're color dynamic to really guide us through the visuals of our trade. All right, so let's break it down. Well, if you're a person that likes to trade the momentum candle at opening, then all you have to do is just make sure that you start sliding your stop loss and making sure we do actually indeed hold 444 for 445. And yeah, that would have been a very profitable candle. I have taken trades on Tesla immediately, seeing the potential move to test some resistance before the drop down. And sometimes it just keeps going. Tesla's crazy. But in this case, because of the homework I'd done, I knew that we would likely get a rejection. And zooming out on Tesla, here's what you also want to see. You want to see that we are technically in a bearish trend. Again, well, let me correct that. We're not in a bearish trend because we're well above the 200. So this is not a bearish trend when you're above your 200. So I'm going to correct myself there, but we are pulling back and we have started to signal with the loss of the 12 EMA and all of this turning red. So all that's been happening recently on these pop-ups with Tesla is an attempt to reclaim and yet always failing right now to reclaim the 12 EMA. With that in mind, I knew that one, we had to really start to see some strength again holding above the 445 and starting to push back upwards. These wicks you do not want to see. So I already had, again, the mindset that we were trending in a potential um, pullback for Friday. Look at the wick of this 1 hour candle. Um, Complete bear trap. So someone was asking me how did I get into Tesla? For me, I let the gap up happen. I was not interested anyway in calls unless I seen very strong strength above 445. I've seen Tesla try to do it multiple times. Here was another time where it tried to gap up and then it did a complete sideways trade and then we caught the closing of this. So to jump right into calls at opening because we see a big green candle wasn't going to work for me because I did my homework. Well, once I seen this candle, followed by the pullback to VWAP, the ARC, the 12 EMA, the crossover, I mean, you just have the perfect trade. So capitalizing, starting once we start to get these rejection signals, it looks much better, honestly, in a 2 minute. And you can trade off the 2 minute when you've done your homework because you know what to look for. Here's the chop around previous day high, the rejection under previous day high. We lose VWAP. And so once we're under 444, that's my level. If I don't see candles trying to reclaim and we're getting a more confirmation, then you can ride the wave. What we did was we broke pre-high, gapped up a little bit, came back to pre-high, and then a rejection under your pre-high, which is right at the 200. Then this crossover just leads to the best trade ever. So 300% on Tesla ODTEs on Friday. Couldn't be more pleased. You're done by about 9:30, honestly. Yeah. Got to previous day low where we chopped and reclaimed, and then we just did a bunch of sideways trading. Because Tesla has not reclaimed the 12 EMA on the 1 day, I am still not convinced, and there is a potential move further down. We do have demand sitting here in these order blocks, in this order block here, closer to 200. I think it would be a beautiful gift to get Tesla as close to 400 and maybe a little bit under as possible. Um, and then we also have earnings coming up. So it seems like there could be a potential drive to get price down to that order block ahead of earnings. Or maybe we just chop sideways until earnings posting. I don't know. But I will remap out my plan for next week, and Tesla still will continue to be one of my top watches for the week. So, if you do your homework and prep and understand what's happening on the higher time frames, you can trade Tesla. You could trade it on the 2 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 minute. You're going to be a lot more confident because outside of surprises in the market with news, it's going to be very predictable. And that's what I've learned from it. I used to be scared of it. It was one of my biggest losses. And then now I'm not scared. I just dive right into it. So that's the story on our buddy Tessie. Now, I did want to show you Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley has been on a very crazy bull run, honestly. If you just look at it, I will keep these purple alerts and price targets on my chart. I'm actually looking for price to pull back here. And if it holds in these zones, then I'll be looking for an entry, even if it comes back to about right here, as long as it's holding somewhere around the 12 EMA, we're okay with these wicks. Then I would look on the smaller time frames to see if I get a confirmation to enter in. So Morgan Stanley is on my list to watch. They just posted earnings, so you don't want to jump right at the first gap from earnings. That was a surprise beat here, 10% on earnings, and then their revenue was a 0.84. Um, so again, keep this one on your watch list. They are very bullish. And after a nice pullback somewhere into these ranges here, I'm thinking I will be looking to catch the ride back up, maybe to test the 200 level. I think that psychologically 200 makes sense. Definitely going to want to do that with time on your side. So something to keep in mind. I'm going to do a full trade plan and post it in the Discord. So if you're in Discord, just look out for that trade plan and see if you like Morgan Stanley as well. Now, I do want to introduce you guys to a cool feature that we have And I would love for you to take a moment and add this indicator to your arsenal. Let's see. I think I have it under my favorites. And this is going to be our wolf tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and add the wolf tracker to my chart. Let's see, I may have to add it again. I refresh. Okay, so it is not loading, so give me 1 second. I am going to get this tracker added to my chart. Now, what the wolf tracker does is it does give you a nice signal of trend reversals in the market. I'm sorry, sector reversals in the market. So you get to sector rotation is the proper way to say it. So you get to have a visual of where money might be rotating to. So it is not loading, guys, but I'm going to get this indicator linked in my description as well for you. It is a free indicator that you can add to your chart. I may need to do a full refresh to get it or look to see, maybe I need to change my, let's see. I'm going to try to change my chart because I do believe I had it already loaded on a chart. Nope. Okay, I'll get the correct link and I'll make sure to have that added to the chart for you all. But yes, please, if you don't mind, add this. What it's going to do for you is it is going to tell you exactly where money is rotating to real time. And I'll do a quick video featuring it once it is loaded to my chart. I'll make sure and get the correct link for you all. Actually, let's just try one more thing. Let's do a search. Okay, yeah, we'll do I'll get the link for you all and have it added to the description. I'll probably just do another clean video on it and hope to have your support in adding that chart to indicator to your tools. Again, what it did for me on Friday was very helpful, but it again is telling you how the market is rotating. And so I wish I could share it right now. It isn't working, but I'll get that up for you all and make sure to post in my next video. So look out for that. Again, if you found this video helpful, as always, please do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. Look out for any posts that I make as well. Sometimes I'm posting the full trade plan. And so those are just little gifts to the YouTube family. Otherwise, lock in Discord. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me, Pretty Wolf Hustle in Discord, or you can leave a comment on the video and I will get back to you. Thanks and have a wonderful evening.